since there's such a minimal amount of time to train, we've given you some tools to put in your kit bag. So when you go to a range, we're not just standing there being satisfied with the gun going off. We're looking for our shots, we're practicing drills, and we're starting to understand that in the event that you have to use your firearm in a defensive situation, you're gonna have to move, right? Okay, nobody just stands still and fights each other. Unless you're, never mind, I'll get into it later. Anyway, so what we're gonna practice now is movement, trying to tie everything together, movement along with rotation, target index as it occurs, okay? So essentially how this drill is going to work is we are going to start at the 5 meter line, and Jer is going to turn in the direction of movement, and when he begins to move and he acquires a target, he's going to engage, and he's going to continue movement. Observe the direction in which he's moving. He doesn't change. He's not target oriented and moving towards the target. Okay, so everybody gets the gist of it. So the whole idea of the drill is scenario-wise. For whatever reason you've determined in your mind, you have to move from this location to the end of the range where the number 5 is, okay? We have to be cognizant of where and when we engage the target. So for safety purposes, if you're slow and you're slow to complete the OODA loop, by the time you're at a 90-degree angle, let the target go. Get ready for the next target. So I want to ideally engage that target where it best suits me. And you'll notice most of your shots are going to be at an angle. They're not going to be at a 90 degree. So the OODA loop's imperative that you complete it prior to getting to the target, right? So all these are threat targets. So I need to be able to engage at an angle. However, I'm not changing my point of reference for aim. I'm still aiming small, missing small, right? But we want you to continue to move. A lot of the problems that we see with movement is when I begin to shoot at this target, I focus and target fixate, and I begin to move. And then I get back on target, or back on track, as it were, right? So it creates a weave. We want to create a straight line distance from point A to point B. Now, for most of you right-hand shooters, shooting at this angle can seem challenging, right? If you notice, I'm bending my elbow a little bit if necessary and compensating with the other. So I'm not at a true symmetrical isosceles at this point, right? And that's okay. But we want to get our hips involved. With that slight bend of the knee, you'll find that if I stand straight up and down, I can't bend very far. But if I flex my knees just a little bit, I can turn further, right? Okay, so the technique that we're teaching right now is both hands on the gun. When I come back to the left, you're going to find it more challenging. It's okay upon presentation because maybe my body isn't allowing me to get the gun straight up and down. If it's angulate a little bit, that's okay. Same sight picture occurs. Everything happens with the fundamentals, right? So that is the first technique that we're going to train. I'm going to show you an alternative. Jared, if you want to come over here. So, in a defensive situation, you may have loved ones with you. For the police officers, there may be somebody with you who has just come to you and they just don't know what to do. Now they're under your protection. So, there's two methods that you can use. You can use the, I've got control of this individual and I'm moving with this individual, and as I move, I've got control, and I'm single-handedly, right? The same can occur for the opposite direction. It's going to require me to change arms, but just give me a little bit of resistance as we move. But I'm still controlling as I need to, okay? I want you to think about you're in the mall. and you have children with you. What am I doing with those children? All they know is loud noises are going off and they're terrified. So, we aren't going to do that specific method during this course, but I want to bring it up to you because I want you and your families to think through that process. How am I going to control? If I'm with my wife and I have all 3 of my children, maybe mom controls 2, I control 1. Or maybe mom rallies them and gets them all and just gets them to a safe place behind cover and concealment while dad handles business. Right? Bad day for who's ever in the mall. Okay, so
Real quick,
go ahead.
who here noticed what our gun was doing in between targets and what it wasn't doing? What was it not doing? Dropping. It wasn't shoot, no. I'm engaging, I finish engagement, eyes lock on, gun locks on, and I continue to drive, and I'm aiming the gun at the target while I'm moving, even if I'm not engaging. Shoot. Next target. It's locked on, like friggin' some Top Gun laser beam bullshit, right? The target moves, I move, doesn't matter. It stays locked on, I engage, I shift, it stays locked on, I engage. Okay? Anything else?
Okay, also, in between targets, I want you to be cognizant of where your trigger finger is. We have lots of rocks and stuff out here. If I'm prepping the trigger prior to the target and I trip, I have a possibility of firing that weapon, right? So, ensure that we're doing the appropriate amount of trigger control. Our gun's still up and still ready, but we haven't taken so much slack that when I trip, we're ready to fire the gun. Be cognizant of that and be safe.